Money Monday is brought to you by Anderson Brothers Bank.
On this Money Monday, we want to help kick off National Black Business Month. Did you know African Americans make up 30% of the state's population, but only own 10% of small businesses? There are more tools out there to help those dreaming about becoming an entrepreneur. And with us today is someone who hopes her business model can help others. We'd like to welcome Michiel Perry, founder of Black Southern Belle. It's good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
So tell us more about yourself. Tell us about Black Southern Belle. What is this?
I'm from the Low Country originally, grew up in Somerville. My father's family's from Dorchester, Berkeley, Carlton, Charleston County. I live in Walterboro, South Carolina now. And my blog is a lifestyle blog focused on wedding, home decor, and travel with a focus on African American and Southern culture.
And how did you decide to start a blog and a website?
I was planning my wedding in Charleston while I was living in DC at the time, and I was also decorating my first home at the same time, and I was looking for a lifestyle inspiration that was African American and Southern, and I was going to Southern sites and going to African American sites and wasn't seeing those two cultures merge together. And I just kept researching and talking to my friends, and I was like, well, where do you go? And they were like, we just kind of merge it together, and I was like, this is kind of absurd. And with all the blogs in the world, that there's not one blog. So I decided to look it up, and I looked up the hashtag Black Southern Belle, and women were already using it. So I was like, I think this is a thing. And thankfully it was available URL, which I was honestly surprised. And I bought the URL and started it from there.
It was destined to be yours. And now, what were you doing before you started your own business?
So I was working for a fashion startup doing marketing and communications, and also doing social media and kind of running our blogger program. So I had a little touch of that. And previous to that, I worked at Google doing public affairs and government affairs. And I also helped work the YouTube influencer program. So I've kind of been around the space, but never thought I'd be in the blogging space myself.
Yeah. How long did it take you to kind of leave that career behind to start your new business?
I kind of went gung-ho with it. I told my husband that it's like, I had a really good relationship with my boss, and I told my husband and my boss I want to start this business. And I was like, if it's only my best friends reading this site after a month, I will go back to a regular job. And thankfully, within a week, there were people that I didn't know reaching out. So I didn't have to go back to my regular job. But yeah, I'm not the typical person when it comes to making career decisions. I wouldn't tell everyone to do that.
Right. That was going to be my other question is, to leave that solid career to start your own business. A lot of people do it. Sometimes they kind of balance both worlds at the same time. So in case the new venture doesn't work out, they've got something to fall back on. So would that be your advice?
I definitely think so. Like, I partially, was able to do that. I worked, at a pretty large company and was able to save a lot of money and had stock options and had already purchased my first home and had a renter. So I did have some backup things. So I do like to give that caveat in that story that it wasn't just like, I quit my job, had no savings, and like just kind of, I didn't just wing it. So I really always tell people, if you need your job to pay your bills, like, please, I don't want to be the reason why you quit your job to pay your bills.
Would you say that there are a lot of resources though out there to help you along?
I think so. I think there's a lot of resources, and I think, especially in the blogging space, everything is digital. Especially as I'm a mom, I have 2 kids. I'm able to attend a lot of things virtually. You're able to connect with a lot of folks. I think there's a lot of blogging groups, Facebook groups. So I think there's certainly a lot of resources, and especially even here in the Low Country, I think there's a lot of bloggers. I connected with folks. I live in Walterboro, and I'm much further away from most folks, but I've been able to connect with other Low Country bloggers pretty easily. So I would definitely say there are resources, and sometimes there can be so many that it's almost hard to kind of sift through where to start. That's usually like the hardest part for most beginning bloggers.
So to date, how long have you been your own business person, your own small business owner?
About 5 years now.
5 years?
Yes.
And there's no going back at this point?
I don't think so. Like, I think I've had recruiters reach out, and there's been interesting jobs, things I like do as side projects that maybe aren't exactly what I do on my blog, working with nonprofits or working with causes that I find interesting. But I really love running my business, and what I love is like getting to empower other bloggers and getting to connect new bloggers and helping them start their brand. So in another life, I thought I was going to be a career counselor. So I guess that's like a different kind of way to do it.
Well, if anyone wants to get in touch with you, wants to find out more about your website, where do they go?
They can go to my Instagram and email me directly. I'm pretty accessible. Every once in a while, it takes me a little longer because I have a son that likes to keep my phone. But otherwise, I'm usually on social media, on Facebook.
What's the address?
www.blacksouthernbelle.com.
Perfect.
And on Facebook, it's Black Southern Belle, and the same on Instagram as well.
Michelle, thank you so much. It was such a pleasure to chat with you.
It was great to chat with you as well. Thank you.
We'll be back after this.
Money Monday is brought to you by Anderson Brothers Bank.